Yo, welcome to episode 9, in which we will be painting, with a dodgy German accent, this monstrosity. I really don't like that. That orange belongs in the 70s. Orange, brown, brown. Oh no, it's like that bloody dress again, isn't it? Is that orange or is it brown? Do you know, I genuinely could only see lilac and brown on that photo, which terrified me. Which apparently is okay because it's not black and blue like everybody else was saying, who's apparently have knackered eyes. I don't know. Drop you out of the way. That scrap piece gone. Right then, so we've got a 50-50 mix in there of, or roughly, of the X28 thinner and this doohickey that I dropped the other night. If you saw that one. So I'll give you a mix. Like so. We'll go through like that. Just get everything flowing. Make sure there's no stoppages, and in we go. I'm going to be doing this in several light coats. So these edges away. Grab the underside, he says. There we go. I'm not too bothered about where the feet are, we're just going to go in that inside lip there, just to hide it. We can blend that in with the weathering, it's not a problem. This is in preparation for quick coat of PVA glue soon. Just realised I've turned my compressor off. There we go. Quick light coat. Turn the compressor back on. Oh. Go. So we got rid of that horrible brown at last. Now, this is my officially, what, hold on, I've got that one there, I've got my Stormtrooper, I've got this thing. So this is officially my third build from Bandai as it stands at the moment. I've got a fourth one with the R2 and the R5. This is the first complaint I've had with the Bandai kit, is that god awful colour that you can't do anything with. I can understand why they've done it. Yeah, it's an end-all model and it's supposed to be on some kind of rocky terrain and in a forest, but could they at least have done that green? The sprue that it was on originally had a Chewbacca on it. I'm actually filming this out of sequence. I'm filming that part for, well, this part for episode 9, this part for episode 8. And it was attached to the frame that had Chewbacca on it, so I can understand, for the sake of economy, doing it that colour, but please, anything but that bloody colour. sort this airbrush out, and I'll be back in a minute to sort this out. So here we go, here we go, here we go. I've hit one of those weird streaks that you have where I'm waiting for stuff to dry, but I'm filming this and this all at the same time, and everything ground to a halt because real life got in the way, and that dried whilst real life got in the way. I had to go and work and stuff like that and rubbish, but it's been a week and that's dry, and I'm happy now because all that's dry and I can finish it and stuff. And then this part will take up most of episode 8. Yeah, episode 8, and then I can concentrate on this thing and then do the final touches and blend it all to helps with visual hands. That's how giddy I am. So again, so I'm not getting any fingerprints or anything in, I just whack a glove on. Yeah, ready. So usual thing, got the airbrush and knock stuff over, and we're going with the good old Satin varnish. Helps if you rebuild it first, doesn't it? See, giddy. Slow down. Think. Plan. Ugh. Slow down. Giddy ass. I love that interior. I really do. Looks gorgeous. I am very, very happy with how that turned out. Very, very happy. Love how these barrels have turned out. Most of that blackening at the end is the pre-shade colour, and I only came so far up with the base colour just to help me out with the wash afterwards. And then the wash has gone in, the gunk wash, into the little grooves of the barrel. And it looks absolutely amazing in the flash. I really hope the camera's picking that out properly. I really do. It looks gorgeous. Right then, I've got a flashy thing right there saying battery's dying. Back in a second. Yay! Clumsy oaf, really am. Alrighty, plonk that there. And knock all this stuff over. I'm having one of those days again. Cheers. That's a big dome. Leave me alone. Right then. Saying right then again. Let's get rid of this nasty thing. I'm going to leave that there so I can actually show people what that was like when they come to see this and go, ooh, ah, ooh. Still got loads of stuff drying over there. Just make sure that's down. Right. You come out over there. People are trying to interact with me and no, I don't like them. We have 1 cup of ordinary garden soil somewhere if my planning hasn't let me down again, which it normally does, we will have PVA glue. Yes, I know it says wood adhesive, but it's the same bloody thing. And we need a cup of water. And something to mix in. This is ordinary garden soil that I dug out my back garden earlier on, complete with bits of leaves and twig and stuff like that. Try and take these out if you can. It'll probably help to get some gloves on. So I'm making a mess, but I don't want to make that much of a mess. And one thing I really would recommend doing is just leave that for a few minutes. Watch for anything creepy crawly knocking about in there, and then try and get rid of it if you can. And to be honest, I've probably got a bit too much soil in there. So let's do this properly. Alright, let's see if I can spill this everywhere. I definitely recommend having a newspaper down if you can, in case that happens. You get garden everywhere. Yeah, it's a nice big lump of soil. Right then, that's definitely a root. Look wrong. I'm going to use, it's a really old nasty brush that I've had for years and years and years and years that I've never actually used. I will be for this. So give that a smushy. Just to break it all down. Again, it's not going to be a full-blown tutorial of how to do a base. Watch this glue be all dried up, because I've not used this for years either. Oh no, that's not too bad. A good old dollop in there. It's not going to be a full-blown tutorial on how to make a base. There are loads and loads and loads of videos out there for how to do this kind of thing properly. This is purely to get rid of how evil that was. Can't get the lid back on, there we go. Let's get the light on, there we go. And basically, as you're about to see, this isn't exact science. Give it a right all mixing. You can buy specialist products for this from any good hobby store, model making shop, Games Workshop and places like that do their own brands. Because they do their own brands, you'll tend to pay a little bit extra. So for this kind of thing, if you want to do it properly, I really would recommend going to a railway hobby shop if you can, and they will definitely be able to give you some really good advice. Same with Games Workshop even, because they do tabletop gaming. They're all about doing landscapes and dioramas and things like that, as are the train people. And that was a pretty good guess for how much we needed to do here. Right, press for that. As Han Solo would say, sometimes I amaze even myself. Something like that. Lovely. I like that. It's just about the right amount of goo. So we'll wipe the business end off, so we're not getting that in our faces. And then literally, this is why you use an old nasty brush. Come here. We're literally going to, if we've got something down to catch it with, ideally you need some old newspaper or something for this. Just get it on there. Don't be shy. whack it in. Do your best to not get this into where the foot's going to go. In fact, let's blend this in. Yeah, why not? It's a little bit too sticky that, so I've added a little bit more water just off camera there. Just to make it a little bit slushier. Here we go. And for a normal diorama, I would actually use clay to make these lumps and bumps that are already moulded into the plastic, so they've actually got that part right. It actually helps us out with that part. So they redeem themselves for that. But using that colour plastic in the first place, oh, it's just wrong. Oops. Goop. And again, move the piece to suit you. Don't dislocate your wrist or anything. It's a really quick, really nasty, really messy, fun way of doing this. I'm not too bothered about getting this stuff everywhere else, because it'll help blend in with the scenery. Like so. Now we can blend all that in with the rest of the painting and stuff like that. So I'm going to very, very carefully take him back off again, and then we'll leave that overnight to dry off and see where we get, and see what we need to do to improve it. Big empty spot there. Well, that is a very quick and nasty way of making a diorama base. It's so much fun. And look, I've got mud pie. I've done that since I was a kid. Lovely stuff. Like I say, you can use specialist products for this. But if you've got it in your back garden, go out and get some. Get back to nature. And the water we had earlier on comes in really, really handy for cleaning this brush. I like that. Now, I gave a lecture last time round about not doing that with the brushes. It's an old brush, I don't care about this one. That can go back in the garden to be recycled and all that kind of stuff. That I can use for another project that I'm working on off camera that I'll get to show you at some other point, hopefully. But not right now. This is what we're building right now. So, while that's drying, let's get on with this fella. Yeah, I know. Yes, I know, in real life you're not that great. Yes, I know, I'm nearly 40 in 6 weeks, and I'm that grey already. Yes, I know. Stop. 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 Will you shush and let me sort you out? Thank you. Are you done? Alrighty. So, I blobbed some grey. You shush. I blobbed some grey on there so that I could figure out where all the lines are. So it's a contrast coat. If anybody's done any sanding on a car or anything like that after doing a load of body filler, you'll know this technique. So that when you come back with the sanding, so you can figure out how much filler you still need to use. You have grey spots and low spots and stuff like that, and any of the contrast colour that stays down and still shows needs buffing out. So if you take that dink as an example, if I was using filler on that dink in his face, the starship filth that you can still see in there is a low spot. That means I still need to fill that part to bring it level with everything else. So that's a contrast coat. So having just scraped away there, that's what the contrast allows me to see, where all the little lumps and bumps are, and the shadows and things like that. So I can see there's a spot that needs taken care of. There's one there as well. So I'll just run the back of the blade over. It's kind of like shaving, but not. And concentrating again, now I've gone quiet. Doesn't mean you can start. Okay, happy with that. Right then. Let's base coat you with some paint. Yeah, that would help. Okay, hopefully that compressor is going to catch up with me in a minute. There we go. Okay, right then. I'm actually going to base coat him first with khaki brown, and it's an odd choice, I do appreciate. Not grey. In fact, I remember having some thinner in that last night. So let's get the glove on. There's a reason I'm doing this. It's not just because it's a good awful colour. So it's like a tiny little bit of pressure on the trigger, a tiny little bit back, because it's more of a detail paint than a full-on whack. There we go. I can see what I'm doing now. So it's a slightly odd choice of colour, but you'll see why in a minute. Which for me will actually be a few hours. Because it's getting late again and it's nearly bedtime. So there we go, base coated. Leave him to stand up. Leave him to dry, which for me is going to be overnight, but for you will literally be a fadey wipey thing here. Well, that's interesting to look at, isn't it? Right then, right, shift you. We're going to do something slightly different now with Chewie. We're going to get some burnt umber for the really, really dark colour. blob it onto some cardboard. Get some burnt sienna for that lovely middle brown colour, like that. I'll get some black just to be on the safe side. So I'd rather have it out and not need it than need it and not have it out. And I'm going to blob it onto that cardboard, and I'm going to leave it for about 20 minutes. As you can probably see there already, some of the oil is already bleeding out into the card, and that's what I'm after. This is an older version of the gunk wash that we've been doing. This is the Verlinden system I was talking about in an earlier video. That used to be done with enamels, but it's the same principle. Because it's based with oil and whatever enamel's based with, you need that solvent to leak out a little bit so that it'll dry quicker, because I don't want to really spend another week waiting for oil paint to dry. So we'll speed the process up by letting it leak out into the cardboard first. Now we've already base coated him with khaki brown. I think I covered that in an early video to give him a quick blast while I had the airbrush out. I'm actually wanting to cheat a little bit. By using that khaki brown, I'm actually going to hope I can use that as the highlights once the oil paints have gone in. To start with, I'm going to go in with the sienna. Was it? I think it was sienna. Yeah, the sienna, because that's the middle tone. Now, if you look at Chewbacca properly, no, that doesn't look good. He's that really lovely sienna type colour in general, and then he's got darker patches around the shoulders and the odd darker patch in his hair and things like that. So I'm going to be using that, the burnt umber, for the darker patches, and possibly the black if I need to, just to darken it down a little bit more. I'm going to wallop him all in the sienna first once it's all leached out. So I'm going to leave that for 20 minutes, like I say, let it all leach out, and then it's one of those things, it's easier to show than explain. And so half an hour later, we can see that all the oil's leaking out, and you can actually see where the edge of the oil's actually drying off a little bit, which is what we want. It's nice and handy. So after half an hour as well, the base, as you can see, is still drying. It's tacking over on these edges here. We've still got a little bit to go on the rest of it. So yeah, that's definitely going to be an overnight job. Now then, whilst we were away, whilst this was doing its thing for half an hour, I went in the loft because I had to get something else, and I remembered I had this that I made when I was 15. Now for the life of me, I can't remember if this was a fine moulds or an MPC Haute kit. And if you look carefully, that's my very first attempt at doing the sponge weathering for the chipping effects. It's a little bit dusty as well. Let's see if I can get rid of some of that. This was literally done by dabbling a sponge into some, I think it was X10 gunmetal, and just literally sponging over the top. I do remember I made the decision to do it as red 3. I think that's wedge, because everybody does Luke. If you look really carefully, you can actually see where I've done the different tones. It's all brush painted as well, no airbrush at all. Really wonky lines. Back then I was absolutely terrified of doing decals, transfer things. And I remember very vaguely trimming some masking tape down and wrapping it around that barrel and hand painting that with a custom made blue. It's disappearing into my gloves. It's kind of cool. I like that. I was 15 when I did that. No idea what I was doing, completely made up. Nice. So, right then, enough showing off. put that to one side. Let's get on with this Charlie. So we're going to go in with the brush that we've been using all along for the gunk washes. And like I said, we're going in with the sienna. And the same thing. Gunk it on. Get in there, rubbing him. Now, he's not had any varnish whatsoever put onto him. This is literally straight over the base coat. And the idea with this now is, once this goes in, we'll leave it for another 20 minutes or so. And I'll come back with a cloth and wipe it off like we've been doing earlier with the gunk washes. So I might go for a little bit funny here because I'm pardon me. Had sausage on toast for my tea and it's not sat with me. And it's gurgling away something chronic. You can probably see now the difference in the pigments. I'm using a lot more of this sienna than I've been doing with the Starship Filth, because it is a thicker pigment. You can actually feel the difference in quality as well. That's possibly to do with the fact that I've let the carrier bleed away. That might well have something to do with it. More than likely is. I'm sure somebody will let me know in the comments. It's going to be the same thing again in a moment. Once I finish with this, I'll literally scrub the brush through on the towel. Not going to use any thinners at all. Not going quiet again because I'm concentrating. Leave him to do his thing and get rid of this off my fingers. That's literally all we're going to do. Well, not my towel and my scrap cloth. Right, 20 minutes. Get my brush sorted out. Will not use that one because that's for the painting. Use this one. I'm going to very, very gently rub away. Where's my cloth? Where's my cloth? Where's my cloth? Cloth, 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 cloth. Let's clear some space. You can go over there. There we go. So because I can't quite get a cloth in there, I use another brush to work around. I don't know if you can make that out where I'm taking the oil off the raised parts, the khaki brown showing through as a highlight. It looks better in real life. I'm not too sure how well the camera's going to pick that out. glad that's worked. That was a huge gamble. I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy. I can stop panicking now. In the back of my head there was all kinds of voices going off saying, oh, you're getting this wrong. But no, I'm happy with that. Yes! That'll do nicely. The only thing that does concern me is the back of his head. For some reason I've lost the detail. So I might have to scratch that back in at some other point. Okay, right then. I'll go check my reference photos and we'll come back for the dark patches. Hopefully you've just seen a couple of photos of Chewie. Right, it appears that he's got dark shoulders here and dark armpits, and then he's got dark patches on his hips, and he's got a little streak of dark on the top there. So, oh dear, blurry. Sorry about that. We'll go in with the, what was it, the burnt umber. Over the top, just in there. Now I'm wondering if these dark patches are actually sweaty, oily, grubby stains, because here's the mechanical type. He's not a mechanical type because that's a robot. I'm a mechanic type. Oh dear. So I'm wondering if it's oil stains and the like. He's up to his armpits trying to fix things. Get some on the wrist as well, just to make it a little bit interesting. Oops. There we go. So it's just a quick and nasty. Don't put the paintbrush in your mouth, Tony. That tastes funny. It's just a quick and nasty, get the oil paint on there type effect. So again, we're going to leave that for another 20 minutes just to do its thing. We'll come back to see how that looks. And so we go back to Chewie. Ew. Excuse me. So we do the same thing, we're going in with a little bit of blending with the frog in my throat. Just to darken up on the fur. And then with my other brush, wherever that went, there you go. We'll have a tiny little bit of black. So that original brown colour. Just to darken it a little bit. So it's not quite dark enough. And we'll leave that for another 20 minutes. Repeat the process of blending it in together. And this is the beauty with oils. You get so much blending time. Let's go a little bit further back there. Let's Give that a bit more interest. So, another 20 minutes, let that do its thing. Helps sort of show you this part, doesn't it? Okay, there's another quick blend. Not too much. Don't want to take too much away. We want to try and leave that dark flavour. No, not dark fader, dark flavour. And then we're going to leave him overnight to dry. And see how that is. I'm going to take a little bit more time with him than I did with, you know, the literally 10-minute rush job that we did here. So you should hopefully see a difference now between acrylic and oil. How much more work goes into the oil, but it's definitely worth the effort if you can be patient enough to stick with it. Yep, so what for you will be literally a click of the fingers. It'll be overnight for me. I'll see you on the other side. And then we have one Chewbacca who has dried overnight. And he's looking a little bit meh. So, do I or don't I? Yep, why not? Let's try a bit of the Starship filth. Just to darken him down a little bit. Extra. Which will come in handy anyway because I have to carry on with that doink. Spang! Spang, that's the word. Spang! So, let's get some blue roll. Blue roll. That's my blue roll. Straight into the tube. No messing. I'm going to take most of it back off again on the brush. And darken these patches down. Oh, it's better. That's more like a Chewie, dear. Chewie, I know and love. That's a lot better. And while it's still wet, I'm just going to use the edge of my finger just to knock off the raised parts. So we've still got some of the khaki brown showing through, or what was khaki brown. Show people, Tony. Smell like it. Awesome.